So I want you to just picture this for a second. We're diving deep into this one singular moment in Norse mythology.
Right.
A moment where the very survival of Asgard, the entire home of the gods, it doesn't rest on strength.
No, not at all. It rests on its mightiest warrior being willing to face, well, total and complete humiliation.
Exactly. Imagine the ultimate symbol of masculine divine power, the god of thunder, Thor.
Mm-hmm.
He wakes up one morning, reaches for his hammer, a Mjolnir, and it's gone.
Just vanished. And the gods are thrown into the state of just existential panic.
It's an unparalleled crisis, and the solution they come up with is, it's maybe the most audacious plan the Aesir ever conceived.
It really is. And for you, the listener, we're looking at the source material that tells this story, the Thrymsvigri, or the Lay of Thrym.
So what's our mission today?
Our mission is to really dig into the details. We're going to examine the specific characteristics of Mjolnir that made its loss just apocalyptic.
Okay.
Then we'll analyze the incredible political tension this theft creates, especially with the goddess Freya.
And the wedding feast. We have to talk about the wedding feast.
Oh, absolutely. The logistical nightmare and the high wire act that was this giant wedding where Thor had to become the blushing, bearded bride.
And when we say high stakes, we're not kidding. The very fabric of their cosmos is coming apart at the seams.
Yeah, the solution wasn't just, oh, let's find another weapon.
No. It was dressing Thor in a wedding veil and Freya's most valuable necklace. The gods were literally forced to trade their dignity for their existence.
So let's jump right in. Section 1, the crisis of the Aesir. And it all starts with that shocking discovery in Thor's bed.
The sources open by really setting the scene, don't they? They establish the sheer weight of this moment.
They do. Thor, who they call the strongest and most valiant of all the gods, he wakes up and instinctively reaches for something familiar.
And for Thor, familiar isn't a pillow. It's the comfortable, accustomed shaft of Mjolnir. He keeps it right there, always within reach.
The narrative really emphasizes that, this casual intimacy. He doesn't even need to open his eyes.
He just knows where it should be.
And it's not there. The space is empty. His ultimate cosmic security blanket is just gone.
So he gets up, he walks around his hall, and it sinks in. The unthinkable has happened. The hammer of the gods has vanished.
And this is so much more than a theft. It's the strategic disarmament of Asgard.
Right. To really get the panic, you have to understand Mjolnir's pedigree, its history.
Exactly. It wasn't just a weapon, it was the weapon. It's what codified Thor's power and really established the safety perimeter of the divine realm.
It was crafted by those master dwarves, Brock and Atri, right? As part of a contest.
That's the one. A famous contest to prove their skill was unmatched.
Let's just touch on that creation story for a second because it explains so much about the hammer's unique qualities.
Yeah.
And its flaws.
Oh, for sure. The dwarves made 3 gifts for the gods, and Mjolnir was the masterpiece, but while they were crafting it in the forge...
Loki showed up.
Of course Loki showed up. He was actively trying to sabotage the process.
How'd he do it?
He shapeshifted into a stinging fly and bit the dwarf Atri over and over again. Right. But despite the immense pain, Atri just kept pumping the bellows for as long as he possibly could.
And not forever.
Not forever. Because of that brief, painful interruption, that one moment of distraction, the finished hammer had one single, crucial design flaw.
The handle was slightly too short.
It was just a little too short.
That's such a great mythological detail. It's pure irony. That short handle is the lasting consequence of Loki's mischief.
And it forces Thor to swing the hammer one-handed, which might seem minor, but it makes him, dependent on his strength in a very specific way.
It also means he has to wield it with immense control.
Right. But beyond that one physical flaw, its magical properties are just off the charts.
Okay, so let's list them. Destructive force.
Total annihilation. Anything it hits is destroyed.
Its guidance system.
Perfect. It never misses its target when it's thrown.
And the best part.
It always returns to Thor's hand. The ultimate cosmic boomerang.
It can also shrink, right? To fit inside his shirt.
It can. So it's this ultimate tool of both mass destruction and, everyday personal defense.
So when this weapon goes missing, it's not just a loss of offense. It's a complete failure of defense.
The sources are really explicit about this. Mjolnir is what keeps the giants, the ogres, the trolls, all the monsters
terrified and at bay.
Exactly. Without it, the divine realm of Asgard is instantly exposed to its oldest and most dangerous enemies, the Jotnar.
So the crisis demands immediate action. But Thor's approach to problem solving is Well, it's very Thor.
It's very revealing, yes. The sources detail his immediate internal process. What does Thor do when something goes wrong?
His first thought, naturally, is, was this Loki?
Of course, he's got a long history of mischief and betrayal.
But the narrative shows Thor immediately dismisses the idea. He recognizes that even Loki, the master manipulator, wouldn't dare cross this line.
He wouldn't steal the one weapon that protects everyone, including Loki himself.
That decision right there to rule Loki out, that's a huge moment of clarity.
Or maybe profound denial. But either way, it confirms that the theft of Mjolnir isn't just some high-level prank.
It's an act of war.
It's an act of war, and Thor knows Loki isn't quite suicidal enough to start Ragnarok just for a laugh.
So because he absolves Loki of the crime, he then pivots to his second course of action.
Which is?
Asking Loki for his advice.
Right. He recognizes that while he has the strength to solve problems with force, Loki has the craftiness to solve them with, guile and information.
This dependence on wit, something Thor usually hates, it's immediate.
It just showcases that necessary symbiotic relationship between these two. They're so different.
Thor's the raw power, the hammer.
And Loki is the precision instrument, the scalpel. They need each other, even if Thor despises admitting it.
And you can feel that tension when they interact. Thor warns Loki, don't tell anyone.
He's coupling his admission of failure with this demand for absolute secrecy.
He trusts Loki's ability to find the hammer, but he clearly does not trust Loki's natural tendency to plot and scheme.
Or use this moment of weakness against him.
Exactly.
But Loki, ever the cool head, agrees to help. To travel quickly and secretly out of Asgard and into Jotunheim, the land of the giants, he needs a very specific tool.
Freya's feathered cloak.
Precisely. Which brings us to Freya, who the sources describe as the most beautiful of all the gods.
She lives in her magnificent hall, golden hair, surrounded by her prowling cats.
The ones that are always eager to pull her chariot.
And she's wearing her most famous, most valuable possession, the shining necklace of the Breezings.
That necklace is crucial here. It's a symbol of her unparalleled beauty, her status, her desirability.
It cost her a great deal to get it, didn't it?
Oh, a huge deal. Some versions of the myth suggest she had to sleep with the 4 dwarves who forged it.
Wow.
So it's a deeply personal and valuable artifact. This wealth and status just highlight the immense risk Loki is asking her to take.
So when Loki asks for the feathered cloak, the one that lets him turn into a falcon and fly across the 9 realms, Freya's initial reaction is
pure protective defiance. She flatly refuses.
She calls it her most valuable possession. More valuable than gold. And she says she's afraid Loki will just use it to create chaos.
Which is a pretty reasonable fear, to be fair.
It's very significant because it confirms what all the Aesir think. Loki is a risk.
But the safety of the realm overrides her personal caution.
Instantly. The moment Loki tells her Thor's hammer has been stolen, she changes her mind. No hesitation, she hands over the cloak.
Her change of heart just underscores the cosmic importance of Mjolnir.
Absolutely. Freya values the collective security that hammer guarantees more than her most precious things, more than her distrust of Loki.
It's a moment of necessary, unified purpose among the gods.
For sure. So Loki takes the cloak, he transforms into a falcon, and he flies out into the vast hostile spaces of Jotunheim.
So Loki, as a falcon, is flying deep into the land of the giants. A huge, desolate, frozen landscape.
And he's specifically looking for something out of the ordinary, a sign that screams, successful thief.
And he finds it. He spots this massive grave mound, a place of death and ancient power, and sitting right on top of it is the thief and elf, Thrym. The sources describe him as the hugest, ugliest ogre Loki had ever seen.
But the scene is so jarringly domestic.
It is. Thrym is just sitting there plaiting a dog collar.
That little domestic detail is fantastic. It shows he's not anxious at all. He's supremely confident.
He's just doing a tedious chore, completely secure in the knowledge that he's just disarmed the gods.
When he sees the falcon, he waves.
Yeah.
Right. With his hideous, sharp-toothed grin. Asks for news from Asgard.
Loki lands and reveals himself. And Thrym's reaction to the news is the real key.
What does he do?
When Loki talks about the distress in Asgard, Thrym lets out this specific sound. A self-satisfied chuckle.
Ah, the sound of a successful schemer.
Exactly. And Loki, being a master of deception himself, recognizes that sound immediately. He cuts right to the chase.
Thor's hammer is missing. Would you happen to know anything about that?
And Thrym, after a moment, just drops the act. He not only admits he has a Mjolnir, but he boasts about how well he's hidden it.
He says he's hidden it so deep beneath the earth.
that nobody could ever find it, not even Odin, the All-Father himself.
That boast confirms that Thrym knows exactly what he holds. He's the sole master of the key.
Which gives him total negotiating leverage. So Loki, the diplomat, immediately pivots to offering a ransom.
Gold, amber, the usual stuff.
Right? Treasures beyond counting. He's hoping to just satisfy the ogre's greed.
But Thrym isn't interested in wealth.
Not at all. He dismisses it immediately. He's interested in status and power, which for him is represented by possessing a goddess of the Aesir.
He asks about Freya. How's Freya? Is she as beautiful as they say?
His motivation is clearly not just about getting rich. It's about lust, and it's about humiliating the gods.
Capturing the goddess of love and beauty is the ultimate status symbol for an ugly giant lord.
And Loki, in his typical way, tries to downplay her attractiveness, saying, if you like that sort of thing.
But Thrym just says, oh, I do.
So the price is set. Thrym demands Freya, Nord's daughter, as his bride.
And he wants her delivered in 8 days.
Yes. And he promises to return the hammer as a bride gift on Freya's wedding night.
It's just so brazen. He's equating the security of Asgard with the forced marriage of one of their most prized goddesses.
Loki, ever the smooth operator, just agrees to come to an arrangement before he flies back.
The sources give him this interesting moment of perspective, right? High above the world.
They do, where the mountains and trees look small, and even the problems of the gods seem reduced. It suggests Loki really understands the weight of the news he's carrying.
He knows it's going to cause chaos.
And chaos is exactly what he finds. Thor is waiting, completely agitated.
He doesn't even let Loki land. He just grabs him midair and demands the news now.
It really highlights Thor's anxiety about how vulnerable Asgard is.
And his first instinct is to try and preempt Loki's scheming. He says, I don't trust you. I want to know what you know right this moment before you've had a chance to plot and to plan.
He's afraid of Loki's processing speed. The moment Loki has to think, he schemes.
And Loki, just smiling, delivers the news. Thrym wants Freya's hand in marriage.
Which leads to that wonderful, tragicomic moment of Thor's complete naivete.
He asks if Thrym just wants one hand.
Yes. He suggests maybe Freya could just, sacrifice a hand like the god Tyr did to bind the wolf Fenrir.
It's so revealing. In his desperation, Thor is looking for a physically sacrificable part of Freya. He sees her as transactional in this moment.
And Loki has to spell it out for him. All of her. He wants to marry her.
Thor's immediate realization, she won't like that, has to be the biggest understatement in all of mythology.
Absolutely. So they go together to break the news to the goddess of love and war.
So they return the feathered cloak, and Thor, just completely blinded by his desire to get Mjolnir back, he just pushes the issue.
He tells Freya, put on your bridal crown, Freya, and pack your things. You and Loki are going to the land of the giants.
And then the kicker. I want my hammer back.
It's the ultimate insult. He sees Freya as a piece of equipment, a functional key to unlock his own weapon.
It really shows you the power imbalance and the cultural assumptions within the Aesir hierarchy, that a goddess could be treated as disposable collateral.
And Freya's response is, it's volcanic.
The sources detail not just her emotions, but the physical explosion of her fury.
The ground shakes, the very walls of her hall shudder. Her beloved fierce cats start to mew and hiss and flee in terror.
They refuse to come out from under her chest of furs.
She is so consumed by rage, she doesn't even notice when the necklace of the Brisings, the most valuable artifact in Asgard, just tumbles from her neck and clatters to the floor.
What?
She's showing her complete disregard for treasure when her dignity is on the line. She just stares at Thor and Loki as if they were the lowest, most unpleasant vermin.
And when she finally speaks, her quiet fury is so much more terrifying than a scream.
She asks these piercing analytical questions. What kind of person do you think I am? Do you think I'm that foolish, that disposable?
And I'm someone who would actually marry an ogre just to get you out of trouble.
It's a defense of her status, not just as a goddess, but as an autonomous divine being.
The request for her to go to Jotunheim, to put on the veil and crown.
And to submit to the touch and the lust of that ogre. It's an assault on her very identity.
So she orders them out, and the walls shake again.
Yes, like a punctuation mark on her rage.
And again we get peak Thor. As they're retreating, totally defeated, Thor can only come up with this profoundly unaware comment.
She's very beautiful when she's angry.
You can see why that ogre wants to marry her. He completely, utterly missed the point of the political and personal betrayal.
And that's Loki's cue to deliver the immediate necessary reality check.
Shut up, Thor.
It's the perfect summary of their relationship. Loki constantly has to manage Thor's inability to read a room, especially when the fate of Asgard hangs in the balance.
So with Freya refusing, the gods are officially out of options.
They call the Council of the Gods. Every single god and goddess attends, which highlights how serious this is.
Except Freya. She declines, refusing to leave her hall in protest.
And for an entire day, they just debate. They propose strategies, military campaigns, assassination attempts, new kinds of magic.
But Loki, who's just come back from Jotunheim, he shoots down every single suggestion.
He knows Thrym is too clever, too secure, and way too powerful in his own realm. The gods are at a total impasse.
Strength has failed, diplomacy has failed, and sacrifice has been rejected.
The crisis is fundamentally one of wit, not strength. If Thor can't smash his way through and Freya won't be the political pawn, they're truly helpless.
And there's only one god left who hasn't offered a solution.
Heimdall, the far-seeing sentinel who guards the Bifrost Bridge and can sometimes glimpse the threads of fate.
Thor, impatient and desperate, bangs his fist down and demands Heimdall speak. He declares they have to be willing to do anything to get Mjolnir back.
And Heimdall, the silent observer, he warns them, "You won't like it."
But their collective desperation is just too much. They need the plan.
And Heimdall delivers it. The genius, radical plan. Dress Thor as the bride.
It's an act of brilliant, targeted psychological warfare.
It is. It exploits Thrym's ego and his singular lust for Freya, while hiding the overwhelming force of Asgard's greatest warrior in plain sight.
Heimdall details the disguise with such precision. It proves he's really foreseen the dangers and the necessary steps.
The requirements are so specific, almost ritualistic. Thor has to wear the necklace of the bracings.
A bridal crown, keys that jingle, a veiled face.
And the dress has to be padded or stuffed to hide his massive frame. It is a total commitment to gender deception.
And Thor's reaction is just. It's profound cultural shock and horror.
Of course. He's the epitome of Norse masculinity. His identity is tied to his strength, his hammer, and his beard.
He screams, "I don't like it. People will think I dress up in women's clothes." Absolutely out of the question.
We should pause here and think about the cultural context. Why is this so horrifying for him?
For a Norse warrior, especially one as revered as Thor, putting on feminine clothing was considered nie.
Right. An act of ritual dishonor or social disgrace. It was a sign of weakness, of effeminacy.
So Thor isn't just being asked to wear a dress. He's being asked to sacrifice his entire public image and his honor for the safety of everyone else.
His core identity is threatened, and he points out the logistical problem. I've got a beard. I can't shave off my beard.
He can't strip himself of this symbol of maturity and masculinity.
But Loki, seizing the moment, just dismisses his moral panic. He argues, practically.
If you don't want the giants to invade Asgard, you will put on a wedding veil, which will hide your face and your beard.
It's an ultimatum. Humiliation or extinction.
And the All-Father, Odin, steps in to give the final word.
He declares Heimdall's idea excellent and the best way. And once Odin sanctions the plan, it's basically political law.
Thor's personal feelings are now irrelevant compared to the survival of the realm.
And so the goddesses are mobilized to prepare the god of thunder for his wedding night.
This transformation scene, even with its comedic premise, it's treated as very solemn and ritualistic.
It is. The highest goddesses, Frigg, Fulla, Sif, Eden, Skadi, and Var, they're all involved.
Their participation adds this immense political legitimacy to Thor's humiliation.
Absolutely. Their presence is a form of communal sacrifice. They're witnessing and sanctioning the ritual dishonor of their realm's protector for the greater good.
And each goddess contributes a key element, turning Thor into this composite figure of exaggerated femininity.
Frigg, the queen, takes the lead. She gets the necklace of the breezings, the very artifact Freya had tossed aside in her rage, and she carefully places it around Thor's massive, bull-like neck.
So Thor, the most feared god, is now wearing the symbol of unparalleled beauty and desire.
And then Sif, Thor's actual wife, contributes the keys. She hangs them at his side.
In Norse culture, keys were a symbol of a married woman's authority, control of the household.
Exactly. She was the mistress of the stores. Thor is literally being forced to wear the symbol of domesticity, the very opposite of his warrior life.
Then we have Idun, the goddess who guards the apples of youth.
She drapes him with all her glittering jewels, 100 rings of red gold and white gold for his fingers.
The sheer weight and glitter of all that wealth. It must have been physically burdensome and psychologically painful for him.
He's covered in so much wealth that he's effectively becoming the very prize Thrym desires.
And finally, Var, the goddess of marriage and sacred vows, she handles the structural parts of the disguise.
The shining, high, wide bridal crown and the veil.
Var, being the expert on marriage rituals, is the one who notices the crucial flaw the veil might not cover.
She looks at Thor's eyes and observes, "I'm not sure about the eyes. They don't look very feminine."
And Thor, of course, is just muttering his protests under his breath.
Well, the problem is that Thor's eyes contain the essence of the thunder god, the rage, the power, the sheer force of his divinity.
But Loki assures them the veil will be enough.
He knows the giant's motivation isn't a detailed aesthetic critique. It's singular lust, which is often blind.
Loki then takes on his own role as the master guide and the social buffer.
He transforms his shape and his voice, becoming a beautiful young serving woman, the maidservant, to go with the bride.
He's the necessary translator and deceiver. His job is to cover every single inevitable mistake Thor makes.
The stage is set. Thor, now trussed up in silk, jewels, and a veil, climbs into his chariot.
The one pulled by his goats, Snarler and Grinder.
And this journey is this beautiful contrast of delicate clothing and just brute force.
We can't overstate the violence of that journey. The sources emphasize this is no gentle parade. It's driven by Thor's barely contained frustration.
Mountains broke in half as they passed, and the earth burst into flame beneath them.
Even in drag, the raw power of the thunder god is literally shaking the landscape.
And Loki, knowing that Thor's silence is their only hope, gives him the crucial instruction.
Don't speak. If you speak, you may ruin everything.
And Thor, the god known for his booming voice and aggressive pronouncements, can only respond with a frustrated, magnificent grunt.
The god of thunder is silenced, trapped by his own disguise.
So they arrive in Jotunheim, and the setting again just establishes the immense scale of the giants.
Jet black oxen, each one larger than a house, just standing there impassively. And the courtyard.
Smells strongly of dung.
Thrym, inside the massive hall, is already booming commands. He's so eager for his prize.
He's ordering fresh straw to be spread, insisting that no muck is left out because Freya, the most beautiful creature in existence, is arriving.
He's preparing this luxurious environment for his conquest.
And as Thor and Loki lift their skirts to navigate the courtyard muck, they're immediately inspected.
By Thrym's sister, a sharp-eyed giantess just waiting for them.
She pinches Loki's cheek and then she prods the bride, and her immediate impression is brutally honest.
Doesn't look much to me.
And then she spots the physical proof of Thor's identity under the dress.
His massive feet and ankles.
Which she compares to small tree trunks. The disguise is already visually failing.
And Loki immediately steps in with a smooth, diplomatic save. He claims the thick ankles are just a trick of the light.
And he assures her that when the veil comes off, they'll be struck down by her beauty.
Then he adds the lie, designed specifically to stroke Thrym's colossal ego.
She is so eager for this marriage, I have barely been able to restrain her.
This is the first essential move of the night, convincing the giants that the bride is coming willingly, passionately even.
And as they're led into the hall for the wedding feast, Thor, fearing the required intimacy, whispers to Loki.
What if he wants me to sit next to him?
And Loki, having anticipated this, promises to wedge himself between them. He claims it's an Asgardian custom for the bride's maidservant to sit right beside her.
The feast that Thrym has prepared is just a spectacle of massive consumption.
It reflects the gigantic scale of their appetites. We have to detail the sheer volume of food here.
5 entire roast oxen.
20 whole baked salmon, each the size of a 10-year-old child.
Dozens of trays of pastries.
And 5 gigantic casks of mead.
And the moment Thrym starts his celebratory toast, Thor, who's just driven by fury and nervousness and genuine hunger.
He just starts eating immediately, completely ignores courtesy or any need for subtlety.
The sheer logistical absurdity of his consumption is the comedic climax of the whole myth.
He eats a whole ox.
Then 7 entire salmon, leaving nothing but bones, and then he starts on an 8th.
Every single tray of pastries meant for the womenfolk just vanishes with loud, crunching sounds from beneath the veil.
leaving the giantesses hungry and disappointed.
Loki is kicking him under the table, frantically trying to signal him to slow down, but Thor just ignores him. He's channeling all his frustration into eating.
Can you just imagine the sight? This figure in a silk dress, veiled, sitting silently, just pulling salmon skeletons out from under the veil like some hideous magic trick.
While the sound of tearing meat echoes through the hall.
Thrym notices right away. He taps Loki on the shoulder and points out that the lovely Freya has just polished off her third cask of mead.
3 giant barrels of mead, and Thrym is just amazed, not at her beauty, but at her sheer gluttonous capacity.
He says, "I've never seen any woman eat so ravenously, never seen any woman eat so much or drink so much mead."
And Loki knows the whole operation is seconds from collapsing. He has to invent a believable scenario for this superhuman hunger.
A scenario that appeals directly to Thrym's ego. This is Loki's masterstroke number 1.
He instantly invents the fast of passion.
What's that?
He claims that Freya hasn't eaten for 8 days and 8 nights because she was so consumed with desire for Thrym.
Oh, that's good.
She was so keen to reach the land of the giants and make love to her new husband. The week-long fast explains the extreme hunger.
And framing it as keenness for love instantly transforms gluttony into an act of passionate devotion.
Loki even turns to Thor and plays the role perfectly, saying, "It's so good to see you eating again, my dear."
And Thor can only glare from beneath the veil.
And Thrym, whose motivation is purely lust and self-aggrandizement, he just buys it. He believes the bride's hunger is just more proof of his own overwhelming desirability.
But the tension ratchets right back up again.
Immediately, Thrym, emboldened by Loki's lie, declares, "I should kiss her," and reaches over to lift the veil.
This is the near disaster that Loki couldn't stop.
He lifts the veil, takes one look at Thor's face, the thick beard, the sweat, and the eyes that haven't slept in a week, and he springs back, genuinely shaken.
He pulls the maidservant aside and asks, "Why are Freya's eyes so terrifying?"
It seemed as if there was a fire burning inside them. Those weren't the eyes of a beautiful woman.
This is the moment Thor's divinity just breaks through the disguise. The rage and sleep deprivation give his eyes this terrifying, unnatural glow.
The power he normally reserves for striking down mountains.
So Loki has to deploy masterstroke number 2, connecting this visible fury back to the love story.
He explains she hasn't slept for 8 days and 8 nights, being so consumed by love for you that she dared not sleep. She was so mad to taste your love.
He concludes that the fire Thrym sees is simply
burning passion.
And again, Thrym's ego completely overrides his judgment.
The source says he licks his tongue, which is described as being bigger than a human pillow, and just accepts the explanation.
He's so focused on his ultimate prize, Freya's beauty and passion, that he ignores the consumption, the fiery gaze, and the ankles like tree trunks.
He's completely blinded by his own desire.
So while Loki is busy managing Thrym's emotional state, Thrym's sister takes advantage of the distraction.
She slips into Loki's recently vacated seat right beside the fake bride. Her fatal flaw is greed, not lust.
And she immediately taps Thor's ring-covered hand, demanding a bridal gift.
She warns the stranger that she'll need someone looking out for her in the castle, otherwise things are going to get pretty nasty.
She demands the 100 rings of red and white gold that Idunn had put on his fingers.
She thinks she's getting an easy bribe from a frightened, wealthy new sister-in-law.
The moment of retribution is now imminent. Loki prompts Thrym to begin the true wedding ritual.
And Thrym booms the command that delivers Mjolnir straight into Thor's lap.
He demands, "Bring in the hammer to sanctify the bride."
The giants perform the ritual to consecrate the marriage. Thrym says, "I want to see Mjolnir placed on the beautiful Freya's lap. Let Var, the goddess of pledges between men and women, bless and consecrate our love."
He's using the very source of Asgard's power to legitimize his conquest of Asgard's most beautiful goddess. The irony is just staggering.
The sources take care to remind us of the hammer scale. It takes 4 giants to carry the immense weapon into the hall.
And they place the enormous, heavy hammer right on Thor's lap.
The feeling for Thor is instantaneous and transformative. The moment his ring-covered hand grasps that familiar, comfortable haft, his identity is restored.
The connection between the thunder god and his essential source of power is reestablished.
And with his hammer back, Thor's forced silence is broken. He starts laughing.
A deep, booming, utterly terrifying laugh that sounds like thunder.
The disguise, the humiliation, the starvation, the pretense, it all vanishes in that one single sound.
And his final defiant line before the attack is so simple and definitive, just strips away all the negotiation.
What I say is that you should not have taken my hammer.
The carnage that follows is absolute and swift.
Thor, just fueled by all the accumulated rage and humiliation of this entire quest, uses Mjolnir with unrestrained fury.
He strikes Thrym once, and the ogre just falls dead instantly.
And the sources confirm he then killed every single giant and ogre present at that wedding feast.
This wasn't selective retribution, it was total annihilation.
He was eliminating all witnesses and potential threats. And this included Thrym's greedy sister,
Who received a bridal gift she had not been expecting.
a final fatal strike from Mjolnir.
And when the hall is finally silent, the mission complete, Thor calls for Loki.
Loki reappears in his original shape and surveys the devastation, and his assessment is perfectly dry and understated.
Well, you appear to have dealt with the problem.
It just confirms his role as the necessary intellectual counterweight to Thor's brute force.
And Thor, so relieved of the crushing weight of dishonor, immediately starts tearing off the hated women's skirts and clothes.
He stands there in nothing but a shirt, surrounded by the corpses of giants, his self-satisfaction completely restored.
And he just cheerfully announces, "I've got my hammer back, and I had a good dinner. Let's go home."
The ordeal is over, and the shame is instantly forgotten in the victory.
You know, the myth of Thor's bridal quest is just a magnificent example of problem solving under existential duress.
It really is.
It shows that the god of strength, Thor, who relies purely on physical power, was utterly helpless without his weapon. He was forced into a total dependence on wit.
And this deep dive really shows the critical importance of the collective ingenuity of Asgard.
Thor needed Heimdall's foresight, right, to design the perfect psychological trap.
And the sheer, rapid-fire improvisational genius of Loki, who maintained the deception under the most physically challenging circumstances you could imagine.
The lengths that Odin, Frigg, and even Sif were willing to go sanctioning the public humiliation and temporary loss of honor of their most powerful warrior.
It just underscores that Mjolnir was so much more than a weapon. It was the sacred, irreplaceable guarantor of Asgard's survival.
They were willing to sacrifice the dignity of one god to save the entire divine realm.
And let's not overlook the underlying themes of dependence here. This myth forces us to analyze that symbiotic relationship between Thor and Loki.
Thor is powerful, but clumsy. Loki is brilliant, but unreliable.
And it took the perfect blend of Thor's raw power and Loki's social intelligence to succeed. Without Loki's lies about the 8-day fast and the burning passion, Thor's sheer gluttony would have collapsed the entire operation immediately.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to ponder. Thrym, the mighty ogre, he was successfully deceived by two simple lies: that the bride was starved and sleepless out of passion for him.
He ignored all the undeniable red flags, the tree trunk ankles, the fire in the eyes, and the catastrophic destruction of his 5 roast oxen and 3 casks of mead.
If Freya's beauty was supposed to be the ultimate prize, why didn't Thrym worry about the astronomical cost of feeding this prospective bride?
Was his lust and ego just so consuming that he ignored the basic logistical impossibilities happening right in front of him? Was his deepest desire ultimately what made him the easiest target for deception?